Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have all new Easter and Spring Dollar Tree DIYs to share with you. Like always, these DIYs are going to be really easy to recreate, and best of all, you can put them together really quickly. So they are going to be perfect for any last minute Easter decor needs. I even have some free printables included in today's video, so that is going to be perfect for a 2-minute DIY. So be sure to stick around for the whole video. And if you are new here, please do consider subscribing down below. First DIY, we are going to be creating a jumbo carrot. So I found this wreath form at Dollar Tree in their Easter decor section, but the tag here does say the floral department, so be sure to check both areas. I'm also going to be using some of this orange burlap ribbon. I did find this one in the Easter decor area, and it is 9 feet long. You can definitely use 2 of these for this DIY if you wanted to kind of give the wreath a bit more of a fuller look. I'm just going to be using 1, and 1 was just enough, but if you want to bulk it up a little bit more, be sure to grab 2 rolls of that ribbon. So to start off with, I just need to secure my ribbon in place. And to do this, I'm just using my hot glue, and I'm going to be attaching the ribbon at the bottom here to one side of my wreath. I'm just wrapping it around that metal form. I'm going to hold it in place until I know it's dry. That way it is nice and secure. And you can see here the bottom is looking a little bit funny, so all I'm going to do is just fold that over and hot glue it in place. That way you can still see the shape of the carrot through the ribbon. And of course, you want to make sure that you're being careful whenever you're working with hot glue and burlap ribbon, since it can seep through the ribbon pretty easily. So I actually did go ahead and just put on my little finger protectors. They do sell some of these at Dollar Tree. These ones I'm wearing in the video actually came from Amazon. They came in a really large pack, so I do like to use them from time to time when I am hot gluing, just to protect my fingers. Everything will be linked down below in the video description box. So once I had my ribbon hot glued around the bottom part of the carrot, I started to wrap it around. Now you might notice when you start to wrap the ribbon around the bottom part of the carrot where it is more narrow, it kind of starts to twist and look a little bit funny. If you're having that problem, just go ahead and twist the ribbon in the back, and that's going to make it come over and lay nice and flat. So once I got to the top, I just took my ribbon and I hot glued it right to the top of that wreath form. And I had just a little bit left over, so I'm going to go ahead, flip over my wreath, fold over that ribbon and hot glue it in place. And now for my favorite part of this DIY, we are going to be creating some curls to go at the top of this wreath. So I'm going to be using this brown burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree, and they usually have this one all year long in their floral department. And to create my little curls, all I'm doing is taking a hot glue stick and rolling it in my ribbon. This ribbon does have wire in it, so it will take that shape nice and easy. So once I had it wrapped around, I just went ahead and cut it when I had the length that I wanted, and now I'm just going to slowly pull it off. That way I keep that curl in place. This part was pretty fun, and you do kind of get the hang of it really quickly, and you can make a bunch of these very fast. I just went with 6 for my wreath, but you can definitely make a ton of them and make the top really full. I think that would look absolutely beautiful. Also, several different ways you can attach the ribbon to the top. You can even use some tiny zip ties, but since I already had my hot glue gun out, that's just how I'm going to be attaching these. So once I had all my ribbons made, I just went ahead, added some hot glue to the top of the wreath form, and then just started adding my ribbon on top. If you wanted to, you can even get 2 of these wreath forms and just attach them to each other with some small zip ties if you wanted to make this more of a 3D project. And if you did do that, I would definitely suggest getting 2 rolls of ribbon, since I did kind of have a hard time making 1 roll work just for this one wreath, but it's definitely an idea and I think it would be really fun. But here is a closer look at how it turned out. I think that this one is so cute. I love the natural look of that burlap ribbon, and it looks really fun styled with these bunnies that I found at Target. Next up is a craft that is perfect if you are looking to make some decor really quickly. We are going to be giving these Dollar Tree candles a major upgrade. So these are just the faux candles that they have in the dollar department. I love them. I think they're really great, but we are going to be embellishing them a little bit for Easter. And all you're going to need is some of that same burlap ribbon that we used for the carrot wreath and these wood bunnies from Dollar Tree. So to start off with, you're just going to take your ribbon and wrap it around one of those candles, and you want to make sure it just overlaps a little bit. Then go ahead and cut it, and then I just hot glued mine in place. You can just actually hot glue the ribbon to itself if you don't want to kind of ruin your candle, if you're looking to save this candle for another event. But I just went ahead and hot glued it all together since I figured I could use these year after year for Easter. So once my ribbon was in place, I just took some more hot glue, put it on the front, and added on my wood bunny. And that is it. This DIY could not get easier, but it is a really fun DIY if you are looking for some Easter decor really quickly. Maybe you're planning a brunch or you're going to have people over for Easter dinner, and these would look absolutely perfect on a table. But I do have another DIY next that goes great with them. For this DIY, I'm going to be using 4 of these wooden egg shapes from Dollar Tree. Now this DIY is not one that I invented. I actually haven't seen it done with this shape before, but this DIY is all over Pinterest. You have probably seen it before, but I wanted to show you how you could recreate it using all Dollar Tree products. So I'm going to be using those wood eggs, some of the pastel eggs from Dollar Tree, and some wooden dowels. But don't worry, I'm going to show you those again later on in the video. But first I want to go ahead and just spray paint these, and any color would work, but this French lilac color from Rustoleum is one of my favorites for Easter. I will leave it linked down below. So I went ahead and spray painted them on the front and the back and let them dry completely. Now I'm going to take 2 of my wooden eggs and just mark off where the center is on the top of them. So I just measured, and for the top it was about at the 2.5-inch mark, and I just marked it with my pencil. And now for the other 2, I'm going to go ahead and just flip them over to the back and measure where the center of that one is. So this is where we are going to be making the hole for the dowel. The dowels that I'm going to be using are from Dollar Tree in the crafter square. They do have a couple of different ones. I liked these ones here because they are longer, and that way I can customize the size by just cutting them later on to the height that I need. And I'm also going to be using this pack of pastel eggs. And we do have to make some holes. So you want to make sure when you have your drill that your drill bit is the same size as the wooden dowel that you're going to be inserting into the hole. And you do want to make sure, do not go all the way through, just about halfway through. That way your wood dowel can easily fit into that hole. I'm going to be using that same size drill bit to drill a hole on the top and bottom of my plastic egg. So I just want to make sure that it is big enough for my wooden dowel to fit through, and you will see that these plastic eggs already do have a hole on the bottom, but for me it was too small for my wooden dowel. So depending on which size wooden dowel you use, you might be able to use that hole in the bottom and just drill a hole on top, but it really just does depend on the size of your wooden dowel. And I do like to keep mine in the container when I am drilling a hole on the top and bottom, but please be careful when you are doing this step. So after I drilled them all, I just put each one on my wooden dowel to make sure that it could fit comfortably. Now before I go ahead and trim down my wooden dowel to size, I just want to measure it first. So before I glued anything, I just put it into the base wooden egg, added 2 of my plastic eggs on top, and now I'm just going to go ahead and take my pencil and mark off about 1/4 inch above the top egg, the part of the wooden dowel that gets glued into the top wooden egg. So now that I know where I need to cut, I'm just going to go ahead, take everything apart, and that is where I'm going to trim it down. Now we can start to assemble everything. So you can use wood glue for this, but since I already knew I was just going to be using flameless candles on here, which I do recommend, I really recommend only using flameless candles for this DIY. But since I did know that and I already had my hot glue gun out, I decided to just assemble everything on mine with my hot glue gun, and everything was nice and sturdy. So first I hot glued my wooden dowel, next I added my first egg, Now my second egg, and then of course some hot glue will be added to the top wooden egg. That way we can finish off this candle holder. And I am using my Gorilla Hot Glue sticks. You guys know I absolutely love those. I really do feel like they are a lot stronger and give you a really good hold. So after I was done, I did test them out and they were really sturdy. So I do think that if you want to just use the hot glue, that is totally okay, especially if you are using some flameless candles. So for my second one, I just repeated all of those steps, but instead of adding 2 eggs, I added 3. That way we can have some height difference with our candles. Here's a closer look at how these turned out, and I really do think using that wooden egg shape for the top and the base really does give these such a unique and fun feel. And now let's pair them with those bunny DIY candles. I think that these pair perfectly together. And this candle is actually a really nice candle for $1.25. It's a little hard to see here because it is kind of bright out, but at nighttime you can really see what a beautiful glow these candles have. The entire candle is illuminated, so you do get a lot of light from these, and it really does look so beautiful. And since these are both DIYs, you are the only one who is going to have this decor, which makes it so fun and unique. This next DIY is another incredibly easy one that you can put together in minutes. So if you're anything like me, you will have a bunch of these carrots lying around from Dollar Tree. Every year I love to purchase them. I think they're great for DIYs, but no matter what, at the end of the season, I always have a bunch laying around. So all you want to do is just grab a bunch of them. You can have 4, 5, 6, that's what I'm using here. And all you want to do is just get some string. You can even use twine for this. Cut a nice long piece and just tie it to the top green part of your carrot. Secure it with a knot and then just trim off the extra. And you want to do that for all of your carrots. Now that they all have a string, just go ahead and grab them all into your hand. And you do want to make sure that they are kind of laying at different heights. That way it just looks a little bit more interesting. Once you're happy with the way all of them are hanging, just go ahead and tie a knot up top. That way you can secure them in place. So next you just want to grab some bigger rope. So Dollar Tree has 2 different kinds that are great for this. They have the thicker twine or the nautical rope. That's what I'm using here. But again, either one will work. So all you want to do is just kind of measure it out. And we are creating a door hanger here. So just a little embellishment that you can put on a doorknob. So you just want to go ahead and measure it for however long you want that to be. This piece that I cut here ended up being a little bit too long, but I would rather have it be a little bit long and trim it down than too short. So now that I cut my piece, I just went ahead, tied a nice big knot up top. That way I had a little loop that I could add to my door handle. Then I trimmed down my ends that were a little bit too long, and now I just have to add my carrots to the knot. So you can do this a ton of different ways. I found an easy way was just to take my group of carrots and kind of just take the string and push it through the knot. That way I could just very easily tie them around and secure them in place with another knot. And then once they are secure, you can go ahead and trim off any extra string. Now for the final step, I'm going to take some of this carrot ribbon and just add a bow up top. You can add a really nice big bow. That's what I really wanted to do, but I was running a little bit short on my ribbon, so this is what I had to settle for, but I do think it adds a really fun element. And now this is ready to add on to any doorknob of your home. This is just a really fun DIY and perfect to do if you have any of these carrots laying around. Next, we are going to be creating some decoupage eggs using these foam craft eggs from Dollar Tree. Now, these do come in a couple different sizes. I believe this is the medium size. You get 8 in a pack. They do have some larger ones that are, I believe, 6 in a pack. I couldn't find those, so we are going to be using these slightly smaller ones today, but it is fine. Any of them will work. Next, you're just going to need some napkins that have a really pretty print on them. So since these are for Easter and spring, I found these ones at Dollar Tree. with a beautiful floral print. We're also going to be using some Mod Podge. Now the one I just showed was the gloss one, but I do recommend the matte Mod Podge for this craft. I actually did end up switching to that later on in the craft. So to get started, just take one of your napkins and you want to unfold it. You're going to see that there are two pieces of paper. You want to go ahead and just peel off that back white piece. We're not going to need that one. Now, just to make it easier to cut, I am going to go ahead and just fold it back into quarters, and I'm either going to take scissors or a small rotary cutter and just go ahead and cut this into strips. I'm going to be showing you two different ways that you can use to decoupage these eggs. So the first is going to be the strip method with these pieces of paper here. The next one, we are actually going to be cutting out images from the napkin and adding them onto the egg. Both are really easy and fun. And I am working on a piece of parchment paper here just to make the cleanup process a lot easier. So all you have to do is just go ahead, grab one of your foam eggs and some Mod Podge, and start to add Mod Podge to your egg. Now I did try to start off here with a foam brush, but later on I just went in with my fingers. I found it a lot easier. So once you add some Mod Podge to your egg, you can take a piece of paper and just lay it on top. I also found it helpful to insert a toothpick into the bottom of the egg. That way I could hold that while I was adding my glue on. And then once you add your paper napkin up top, you do want to go ahead and put a layer of Mod Podge over it just to seal everything in place. Then you can go ahead and just let it dry completely. So like I was mentioning before, I did end up switching to the matte Mod Podge. I just thought that it gave a much better appearance. So I actually did go over my first set of eggs with the matte Mod Podge just so they would kind of all look the same. Now for the other 4 eggs, we're going to switch up the method a little bit. So it's going to start off the same. We're going to open up our napkin, take off that backing of white paper. We're not going to need that. But instead of cutting the napkin into strips, we're just going to be cutting out any images that we want to add on to our egg. So for me, that was just the flowers. So just like before, we're going to go ahead and get some Mod Podge onto our egg. You can see here, I completely gave up on my foam brush. I'm just going right into that glue, adding it onto my egg, and just starting to roll my paper napkin around my egg. I could have probably trimmed it down a little bit smaller, but it's okay. It kind of all works out in the end. After you have your napkin on the egg, you want to go ahead, seal it with another coat of Mod Podge, and then just let these dry overnight so they are nice and hard and ready to decorate with. So to decorate them, I'm just going to be adding them to this bowl here. And this was actually a Dollar Tree DIY from a couple of years ago. So I will leave that video linked down below in case you want to check that one out. And I'm just going to be adding some Spanish moss to my bowl from Dollar Tree and then just adding my eggs on top. Really simple, but it's a nice way to display your beautiful decoupage eggs. So I did promise you guys some free printables and a 2-minute DIY, so that is exactly what we are doing now. So for these free printables, I did pick up these frames from Dollar Tree, and the reason I chose these is because they do tend to have them year-round. They're kind of popular, so I'm hoping that you guys can very easily find these. And we are going to be filling up the entire frame, so it is going to be bigger than just that 4x4 image on the inside. So all you have to do is just head on over to my blog. Everything is going to be linked down below in the video description box. Once you go to my blog, you're going to scroll down past the photos. You're going to see an area that says free printables. You can just go ahead, click it, and print these out. So I did print mine out on photo paper. You can use regular paper. I usually do use cardstock, but I wanted to go with something a little bit different today. Then you can just go ahead and cut it out on that black line, and it's going to fit perfectly into this frame. And you guys know the drill. Just go ahead, add it in. But if you are new here and you have not seen me do this before, the only thing I like to do differently is just frame it above the glass. That way you don't have the glare, and it kind of gives it the appearance of being more of an art print than just a framed photo. So here's how these turned out. Really cute, but also perfect if you need a last minute decor idea. And I do think that they pair perfectly with these bunny candles. And that is everything for today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed these DIYs. If you did, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up and share this video with a friend. I'm working on some new spring Dollar Tree DIYs right now that I can't wait to share with you guys. And I wanted to wish everyone a very happy Easter. Thank you so much for watching. To subscribe to my channel, you can just click on my picture right here. And don't forget to check out Lifestyle Vlog on Instagram.